Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I'm a born again believer. And I wanted to come on here today to share why I choose to be celibate and why. So, the reason I choose to be celibate in today's, especially in today's age, is because there's so much deception going on, and there's a lot of people, a lot of men that the only interest they have in women is using them as a cover. And that has happened to me. I would say at least, well, I have been in relationships with men that I didn't know that were using me as a cover. And this wasn't revealed to me. I didn't get this knowledge until I was saved and baptized with, the revelation of who Jesus is. And so that's when I started to fast, and God started to reveal things to me about my past partners. And this is why I'm sharing this, because someone needs to hear this. It's a really, really dark world that we live in. And I really didn't have an idea, because one of the partners was over 20 years ago. And, after I started doing research on down low men, I'm studying psychology right now. So I even ordered a book about, it's supposedly bisexual men, and gay men, but really, I am a believer in the Bible, and it says in the Bible that man shall not lay with man, and woman shall not lay with woman. So I don't believe in the whole bi thing. It's a spirit, and what it is this spirit cannot be satisfied. So gender does not matter to this spirit, okay? Because it's all about power and control. But back to the reason why I choose to be, to live this lifestyle. It took a long time for me to come to this realization, because a lot of people don't want to accept that, they've been with someone that could be possibly gay, or, it's hard to come to terms with, because it does something to a woman's mind, especially if they're, it's one thing for a man to cheat on a woman with a woman, okay? We can accept that and move forward. But if it's a man, it's on a whole different level, and the spiritual warfare that comes with that is very heavy and it's very deep. And so if you have been in a relationship with a man that is very promiscuous, you have to break all soul ties with the spirits, and that's a whole nother video. But I think for me, I chose to be celibate because of my personal relationship with the Lord. And I don't want to just be dating anyone out there. First of all, I want to date somebody that has the same belief system as me, because I do believe in God, although I'm not religious, because I tried the whole organized religion thing, and God set me free from all of that, because that was really, I came out of the Pentecostal church. And so, well, I got saved there and then came out of it. And that was a whole, God used that to set me free from my addictions at the time, because I battled with drugs and just off and on all my life, pretty much all my life, and since high school. But he gave me new things, new desires in my heart. So that's why I decided to go back to school, and it's really helped me. But I know I'm off the subject of what I was originally talking about. But being celibate, I think, it should be the choice for most people if you're not married. But the thing is deception runs really deep, because it can go on many levels. Like, for example, your best friend could just be a bad person. She could portray to you that she's someone else, just like a partner. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to see the bullshit that people portray to you, okay? Because people want to portray to you a certain person. They want you to think they're this certain, identity, when they're not. They could be lying to you. And that's what I've learned. And it took me a long time to learn this, because I feel like I've always been a pretty honest person. And I don't like bullshit. I don't like lies. I don't like games. But yes, no one's perfect. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've always been a straightforward person, and I don't like when people bullshit with me. And I've always seen through the lies when I was younger, but I never wanted to accept it because substances were in my life and they were part of my life. And so that clouded my vision. So I couldn't see. God gave me eyes to see once I got saved, and it's like the bell came off and I started to see people for who the hell they really are. And that sometimes, that's hard. It's a hard thing because I had to get separated from a lot of so-called friends that really weren't my friends. They were just using me, or I was surrounded by a lot of narcissistic people, friends and exes. But the point is, I'm trying to get out is whoever needs to hear this, if you're in a relationship that's not, that you think is just not, it's taking all your energy, or you have a feeling you have a feeling that something's not right with this relationship, and you think the person is cheating, your intuition is probably most likely right. And you need to pray about it and ask God to let you see the truth, and he will show you the truth. And sometimes you're not going to want, it's going to be very hard, to bear. But sometimes God does reveal things so you don't get hurt, or it is going to hurt. But I think for most people, being celibate is the best way. And if you are on a journey and you're trying to figure out what you should do, if you should date, I'm not encouraging everyone to be, just be celibate, because I'm celibate, but it's working out for me. And I feel good because I don't have to worry about STDs. I don't want to be sleeping around like that. I really want to settle down with one person, but like I told God, I said, if it happens, Lord, you're going to have to bring this person to my house, because I'm not looking for anybody and I'm not ready for a relationship either. I still probably have some healing I need to do, but there's so many benefits of being celibate. You don't have to worry about being in a relationship. You don't have to worry about the stress of a relationship. And I've seen a lot of people's videos on YouTube that women are just fed up. They're fed up, they're tired, and they don't even have a desire to date anymore. And these aren't just not even Christian channels. These are just regular people. I don't know what their beliefs may be, but people are they're just tired, and people will use you, and people will wear a mask, and you never know who that person really is. This book that I have, all these gay men that they're gay, they've been using their wives as a cover, and it's more common than you think. It's really more common than you think. And they will ask you to marry them pretty quickly, and they will love bomb you. And it's very scary. And you just because you see someone and you think they're muscular, and you're like, oh no, they can never be gay. Looks have nothing to do with it. Being gay and liking a specific sex comes in all shapes and sizes, okay? They can be masculine. A lot of people make videos on how to tell if your man is down low, and a lot of it is effeminate, effeminate behavior. Well, I beg to differ. It's not all the time, because the man can be masculine. He can be like totally opposite. He doesn't have to wear loud colors. Maybe he'll want to do the opposite so he doesn't get caught. But that's just the perception of how people see these men. But they come in all shapes and sizes and colors. But just be careful out there, because especially with now, how it's 2026, there is so many things, HIV, all these STDs going around, and and I've even done research because I'm curious, and sometimes I go on the Reddit threads to see if there's down low men chatting amongst each other, and there is a group of down low men, and I've read it, and I've almost wanted to throw up. It is so disgusting. And maybe one day I'll go to the thread and I can read what they write, but I try to tell myself, like, I need to stay away from that stuff, because it's infecting my spirit. But I feel like part of my mission or part of my purpose is to help people distinguish, if they're being lied to, because I'm very interested in body language, deception, linguistics, when people lie, because I've been through so much. I want to help others. And people need to leave these relationships and be set free, because it's demonic. It is very demonic. But I went on and on, so I'm going to end this video, and I hope this helps somebody. And I'll be posting regularly now, at least once a week.